joining us. My name is Chris Maggiolo. I'm the campus manager here at the Black River Innovation Campus in Springfield. I'm joined by Rachel and Mike, who are two AmeriCorps Vistas that are helping us out with a lot of these workforce development and digital skilling programs. And I'm also joined by Casimir Krupinsky and Mike Dion, the tour de forces behind Pearl Street Creative and Indelible Inc, respectively, who are two of our mentors in this program. So they're both digital professionals who'll be helping out in our Slack channel, as well as letting you know kind of what their experience has been in the industry with respects to these fundamental courses and some of the skills that they're teaching. So to start off, I'm going to share my screen, kind of step us through a small slide deck. So the Futures Digital Challenge is a new initiative that we are starting along with the Center on Rural Innovation and Udacity. Udacity is the skilling platform, and the Center on Rural Innovation is a partner organization of ours that helps mentor and guide innovation communities like BRIC around the country. So we're part of the Rural Innovation Network, which is a network of communities in rural locations that are engaging in kind of a digital first future. There are 18 communities so far, and they onboard several communities and cohorts each year. The course itself, which if you've seen some of our marketing materials, you've probably already seen this infographic. It's a kind of a two-phase course. Phase one is a foundational, a 4-week foundational course that looks into business analytics, digital marketing, or front-end web development as one of 3 tracks. You essentially will spend the time to dive into some of these foundational elements. At the end of the foundational course, you'll take an assessment, and a certain number of individuals who complete the assessment will be offered scholarships to progress to phase 2, which is a 10 to 12 week program resulting in a nano degree. So phase 1 does result in a certificate of completion, and phase 2 results in a kind of a more in-depth nano degree certificate. So Udacity has built these curriculum along with industry partners. So they actually work with leaders and field experts to identify the specific job skills that the experts feel are needed to be successful in their particular fields of interest. The coursework is a mixture of quizzes and multimedia instructional content, including some video. And then the nano degrees also involve a number of projects that help the users build out a portfolio. So this is an example of one of their more unique courseworks, which is a self-driving kind of automated car course that they offer, where students actually, by the end of it, get to load their code into an actual self-driving car. I believe it's located in the San Francisco area, and pilot that car through an obstacle course. Obviously, the digital marketing, business analytics, and front-end development courses won't be quite so avant-garde, more foundational, focusing on some of the more common skills that you might be needing in the workforce today. Although who knows, there are a couple self-driving car pilot programs that are looking to kind of employ some rural areas. So as you go through the coursework, Udacity has a number of reviewers that will essentially give you feedback on the coursework that you are providing. You can see here that there's a snippet of code, as well as some kind of reviews that have been returned. They also have an kind of online help portal, which they use to curate essentially FAQs for students. So back to the 3 courses that we're offering as part of this challenge, they were chosen very specifically to reflect kind of what we're seeing, the trends we're seeing as part of tech education and employment. So in particular, these 3 courses do not require educational professional prerequisites. So you don't have to have a foundation in coding or in data analytics or any type of digital marketing in order to kind of understand the foundations of these courses. They do provide practitioner level skills, so those entry level skills that are job ready. Again, they're courses that are a little bit more relevant to current demands, so no self-driving cars at the moment, but we might offer them in the future, who knows. And then, of course, the opportunity to develop further within the field, unlocking other opportunities and growing. All three of these fields have pretty high ceilings and a lot of opportunity for mobility. Outside of the scholarships, these courses do run $1,200 or up to about $1,600. So the scholarship would cover the cost of that full nano degree. So looking into the foundational courses in a little bit more detail, you have the link up top here that has the Futures Digital Challenge through the Rural Innovation Network. That'll get you to the sign up page. The digital marketing fundamentals will look into defining what KPIs are, kind of developing an idea of what marketing personas you'll see and knowing kind of what the value proposition of your specific project or product would be. In business analytics, you're looking at more using spreadsheets. I believe they're using Tableau as well to look at statistics and visualizing those statistics. And then in front-end web developing, you are creating style components. You're looking at HTML and CSS code and building out some website layouts. So as far as our involvement with this process, we're here to help guide you. We have a Slack channel, which is essentially a more business-focused version of an AIM chat room, I guess you could say. It's a very common project management tool at the moment where remote teams are able to talk amongst themselves, link to each other, drop in files. And in our cases, you'll be able to engage with our staff as well as Cass and Mike, our mentors here during this challenge. In addition to posting information about the challenge, we'll be having some job resources going on here at the campus or in Springfield that are involving tech or digital lifestyle and whatever other resources or aid you guys need. So as I mentioned, we're joined today by Casimir Krupinsky and Mike Dion from Pearl Street Creative and Indelible Inc. So stepping out of this slideshow, this next section is just to kind of introduce them, where they're coming from, and then to kind of gain their perspective about where these courses might be able to fit in, what they've seen as far as their industries as the skills that have been of particular value, and what they might be looking for when they look towards contract employees or actually hiring somebody, a job seeker from the area. But we can start maybe just by doing an overview of who you guys are and tell us a little bit about your businesses. Maybe start with Cass.
Sure. Hey guys, nice to meet everyone. Thanks, Chris and Black River Innovation Campus again for bringing me onto this. This is kind of a neat thing. So my name is Casimir Krupinsky, and I am a Springfield native, but I've been working in New York for the last, I'd say 15 years as an art director on the client side of a number of companies. So I recently moved back to Vermont here to sort of see if I could start something on my own and kind of do something a little bit more in line with what I wanted to do creatively, and just needed to get out of the city a little bit. So it's a good place to be. And so I didn't know in the beginning, I didn't know if this was going to work, if I could do this something like this remotely. But so far so good, and things have been moving along pretty nicely, and I'm growing as a business owner and a creative, and looking forward to the next few years trying to grow even more and work with more people. So some of the things that I do, I would say, I work with mostly startups out of Boston and New York that are e-commerce first. So anything that is sort of using the web to sell products that they have and develop a brand and sort of to sell online. I work with those companies primarily because that's where my background comes from, and I think that it's sort of a good niche for me to be in because of being remote, and also it's one of those things that's almost like you know, pandemic proof in a way. So over the past like 4 or 5 months, I've seen a lot of businesses that are primarily brick and mortar kind of struggle to stay alive during these times. So you know, e-commerce for me is just, I think, the wave of the future, and it's things are going to be happening more online. Obviously, shopping is happening more online now, but I think even just the way we do business is going to be happening, you know, like we're doing now on Zoom or you know, over Slack or the internet, you know. So a little more detail on what I do. So like I usually get a call from a company that is just starting, and they will run through some of the things that they have, and they get my opinion on what they'll need for creative assets or marketing and advertising assets. So usually they'll have like a great product, and they have you know, a production and a production ready to go, but they don't have things like a brand or a website or you know, like a social media or any advertising like that. So usually I'll start with sort of like a line list of these creative assets that I can help out with, and either do them here myself or find the right people to do it, to kind of bring it to a level that is going to compete with some of their competitors that are doing similar things. Because you know, there's not a lot of original ideas, unfortunately, anymore. So it's all about kind of being the best looking and the clearest voice for your brand. So so photography is a big part of what I do here. E-commerce photography, editorial photography too, for let's say stories that would support your brand. And then I do a lot of video recently. I'll shoot video for advertisements, or do like motion graphics for sort of ads that you would see on social media. And mostly everyone has been psyched to work with someone that is pretty flexible and can do a little bit of everything. So I think that's one thing that I'm learning, that kind of knowing a little bit about every creative field has been super helpful, and I'm either able to achieve it here by myself or with a small team, or I know enough people to reach out to them or recommend people to these brands that might be a perfect fit for them, depending on what they're trying to get out of the creative or the brand. So I get a lot of calls, obviously, that are like, you know, I need a logo, I need a website, how much does a video cost, and things like that. So something that I've been learning to do is just kind of develop those questions into conversations, and kind of take those questions and come up with a plan of why you would need a logo or why you need the website, and try to get a full story here before we get started on anything, so that not only that we're building something that is gonna last a long time and really stand out, but it also kind of gets me in the door for more work down the line, because once I set up these visual standards and these brands and everything, I'm kind of the point person moving forward to kind of carry it through the rest of the year and, you know, into the future. So yeah, that's about it. You know, I'm here if anyone has any questions, and you know, hopefully I can help.
Awesome. Thanks, Kaz.
Yep.
Mike, do you want to tell us a little about yourself and Indelible?
Sure. First question is, of course, have I nailed the audio on this? Am I coming through?
Yep.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
So I switched computers. This was my business partner's computer back when we were in an office, and his audio card has a lot more options. So it's always, especially Zoom, is always like, I don't know what you want. Oh, you wanted to join audio? I don't know. So I'm a web developer who knows how to use the internet, clearly. So Indelible is something that my best friend and I started technically in 2013 is when we incorporated. I've always kind of dabbled in web stuff, even all the way back into high school days, back when, like, I don't know if anybody I think Chris might know what I'm talking about, Angel Fire websites. You'd get on there, you could make a free website. And if you wanted to get real crazy, you could press a button and go edit the code, but it was like, there's no coming back. There's that warning. If you do this, there's no coming back. And I would play around with that, but I also had this like dual thing where I always felt like real programming was something I would never really understand, and I'd never really be good at it. So, you know, went through my high school career. I took a web development course at the River Valley Tech Center when I was in high school. And again, still at that time felt like, you know, this is really cool, but like real programming is a mystery and it's voodoo. In fact, I actually gave up on web development for a while because CSS positioning is super frustrating, and something wasn't making any sense. So I eventually just was like, you know what, I'm not even going to do this anyway, so who cares? And then years later, ended up circling back around and really falling in love with web development as I was chasing it to try to develop some sort of better marketable skill in the 2008, 2009 era when everything was going to pot. So Indelible, basically we do web development. We do a little bit of marketing. We do a little bit of like network admin. We just started doing that. In fact, last week was the start of our new guy's network admin contract. So we're pretty excited about that. My business partner and I spent the whole week scrambling to build a ticketing system for him so that we wouldn't have to buy one, because we want to integrate a whole bunch of other things into it in the long run. So, but that's the kind of stuff we do. We have a custom need that we need to create something for, and so we make it fit. One of the things that I just did this morning was somebody has a WordPress website and he wants to be able to set something up where it reveals and hides on a schedule. You know, like every day or every week, the same day it comes live, and then it hides the same day. So I built a quick little plugin for that. You know, there's logic, there's some front-end development, and I particularly love the logic puzzles. Most of our clients, kind of jumping all around, but most of our clients are not in this area. Our biggest client at the moment is out in New York State. So working remote is nothing that's foreign to us. Working remote from each other is a little new. We used to meet in an office, and now we're just meeting in our houses surrounded by things to try to hide us from our kids. Well, hide me from my kids. My partner doesn't have any kids. So it's available easily and not just cluttered and thrown in somewhere. Really got into getting into marketing and getting into understanding how businesses operate so that you can actually make a decision about the way the website's going to work to meet the best business case that's possible. So all three of those things are huge. And that kind of leads into the types of things that we look for when we're going to work with somebody, especially being a small company. We look for people who, like Cass, can wear many hats. You know, we've kind of split the world into two categories. There's like task doers, people who are really, really good at something and are going to do exactly what you tell them. And then kind of problem solvers, people who might not be as technically proficient in a particular area, but are going to solve the problem and think in the broader sense. Both are really important, but in a small company like ours, the problem solver is something that we need more than just a task doer. Especially, it's easy to put a task in a ticketing system and somebody goes and does exactly what that task does, but it makes no logical sense on the website. That's something that we have run into from time to time. A piece of advice for people looking to enter any of these fields, as an entrepreneur and somebody who's gone through the process of learning a whole bunch about development, several different coding languages over the years, don't give up is really the biggest piece of advice. It's kind of cliche, like, oh, every failure is just one step towards expertise, but it really is true. Like when you're just feeling like this is miserable. I mean, like at one point we actually had somebody early in our career write an article about how bad we were. It felt like a miserable failure, and we're never going to be able to work in web again. And for one night, I felt like that's it, it's over. My first day going full time, I accidentally blew up one client's entire server. Learned a lot of good lessons. Press forward. So here I am. I've been working full time for myself for 4 years now, and I can definitely tell you there are times it really, really feels like I'm never going to get this, or I've really screwed it up and I'm never going to be able to do this stuff again. Just push past it. It really is like those are the times that are the most important for developing the expertise. Without those times, you're not going to have that expertise later down the line. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Mike. Glad to be back. I lost you guys for a second, so hopefully we didn't lose the recording as well. So, I wanted to open this up to a question and answer. I find that that a Q&A tends to be the most valuable for folks that are interested in programs such as this. Do any of you have any questions? I know we received one in chat about, I believe, if the front end development course targeted any specific platforms. I can't see the question anymore since I bounced out and popped back in. But Rachel did share the syllabus to the course in the chat, and we have all the syllabi. So if anybody's particularly interested in one or the other, I'm sure that we can get you copies of those. I don't believe that the focus is on any one particular platform, rather that the focus is on that HTML and CSS as the tools, kind of to your various toolboxes. Do you have any other questions? I think you're muted, Martha.
Yes, I am muted. Okay, now I'm not.
All right.
So is what we're doing right now, is this like an information session for the programs that are coming up?
Yes.
Okay, so the programs that are coming up, we would choose between the three options what to start with. Is that correct?
Yes. So phase one is essentially happens between now and November 5th. So you have essentially the next month to complete the foundational course. You can choose digital marketing, you can choose business analytics, you can choose front-end development. If you finish one, you're welcome to sign up again and take another. But it will start you off as a foundational course on one of those three topics. At the end of the course, at the end of that time period, there will be an assessment where people who perform well in the assessment will be qualified essentially to receive a scholarship to a full nano degree program that will extend the foundational course that you've chosen. So for instance, if you took the foundational course in digital marketing, you completed it, you did well in your assessment and received a scholarship, you could then take that 12-week nano degree course, which results in the full nano degree program. So an extension of the field that you chose.
And is this first course, the first course costs money? How much does it cost?
Nope, it is free of charge. Yep.
Okay. And how much time per week are we expected to put into it?
It's self-paced.
Okay.
They expect about 45 minutes to an hour a day for a month. That said, we've got a couple people already that have finished it in the last week that I know who are employed. So I doubt they were putting 40 hours into the course. So
Okay.
I think part of it will depend upon your comfort with the foundational material.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be too heavy of a lift.
So it's all online, self-paced online, but we have you all who you just introduced yourselves to go to if we have trouble.
That's correct. So when you sign up for the course and we receive your email, we'll send you a link to join our Slack channel, which is that kind of chat message channel that I passed through in the slide presentation. The Slack channel will have essentially a little chat room just for this group, just for the people that are taking the challenge. Mike and Kaz are in there to answer any particularly technical questions. Myself, Rachel, and Mike are there as well to answer any questions that we can handle, as well as some of the more administrative side of things. Mike and Rachel are also taking the course themselves, so they have a first person point of view right alongside you.
Thank you. That's helpful. Now I understand it better. Now, the syllabus that you just put out, I'm not going to be able to access this once we're off of Zoom. Is there a way, or you can send it to us so we have an idea of what we're getting into? I mean, I could open it and look at it now, but I'd miss the rest of our conversation.
Yeah.
Why don't you, what about an email? Is that okay?
That'd be awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can do email. We can also post the syllabi in the event, Facebook event as well. So we'll follow up there as well.
Thanks.
And there's a question in the chat for Mike. Can you say a little bit more about what kind of problem solving skills you're looking for in potential contractors?
Sure. So let me think of some examples. If you're, let's say you get a load of content from a client and you've got a particular area on a website that you're going to put it in. It can be tempting to just cram it all in there and be like, well, this is what they wanted. Or you can come up with some creative solutions. It can be tempting at times to get really hung up on a particular, take a networking example. It can be very easy to get hung up on, well, this Wi-Fi is not working. And so I need to fix this Wi-Fi without stopping and stepping back and saying, is there a broader issue that might be going on here? So while you might be really good at dealing with Wi-Fi routers, if you're not in that mindset where you're going to step back and say, well, is there anything else? Should I be looking at this from another perspective? Those are the kinds of things that we're looking at, if that makes any. I mean, we joke in our office that being a programmer is basically being really good at Google and looking at Stack Overflow and reading about how to best solve problems. I mean, like I read coding books at bedtime sometimes because I'm a super nerd, but just so that I'm aware of what's out there. So when we encounter a problem, it's not just, well, I can't do it this one way. It's, I can do it 6 different ways and I'm going to choose this way because I know that the business application is going to be X, and by doing it this way, it's going to set us up for future changes that may happen that the client's already not asking for, but I'm sure anybody who's worked with clients can tell you that in 6 months, they'll probably be asking for those things and you'll be kicking yourself if you didn't set it up right the first time. Does that answer the question, or have I just rambled on in circles?
Yeah, thank you. This is Catherine. That was my question. That's helpful.
Cool. Awesome.
I have a question for Kaz, actually, in that the foundational course for digital marketing fundamentals talks about thinking of marketing personas and value proposition. I know that's something that you speak of, that we've spoken about, in chatting about BRIC and some of the things here, but do you think that's a pretty big part of what you do, or the marketing process in general?
Yeah, definitely. So, I've always kind of believed that you can't make everyone happy. So when you're starting to build a brand, or even build a company that does marketing or development even, you should try to identify your audience and your potential clients, so that you can kind of focus on creating work and talking to those people and having a conversation with the right audience, so that you're not trying to make everyone happy or everyone like you. You need to kind of like focus a little bit in those areas, and understanding what type of categories a person would fit into or a business would fit into is really helpful. And usually, that can be done with just a pencil and paper, and just kind of circling things that a company or a person might be, and or a company or person might not be. So yeah, that's very important, and especially when it comes down to your advertising and your a more granular level, where you need to kind of take your ad spend and you want to spend it towards audiences. If you're selling paint, you don't want to sell it to, or you don't want to advertise to the wrong, I don't know, I guess everyone would like paint, that's a bad example, but like fitting within a demographic and selling to the right people, you need to get that ad in front of the right person. So yeah, super important.
Thanks. And I know we don't have somebody here that's particularly lives in the data analytics world. I know, speaking from personal experience, that it's something that we use frequently here at BRIC to make sure that we understand who our market is and who we're communicating with, and being able to essentially grab a spreadsheet of data output from any number of programs, to take that to be able to run queries in even Excel, but also some of these other programs they'll be teaching you, like Tableau, which I don't have a background in. This is the track that I would probably end up taking if I were to dive into it myself, just because any business could use a data analyst and somebody to help them pull apart information and reorganize it. And if you like building lists, this is probably a great place to go. I'm very procedural, and it speaks to me for sure. But we're constantly pulling out information on the rural network, on broadband data, and just being able to reorganize that and restructure it so that it tells a story. I think is a really interesting place to be as far as life in the digital world.
And I think one thing that Mike touched on was being a problem solver, and I think it's a really important thing to do to become a good problem solver is to keep up with digital trends. So I think that's really important because everything kind of changes, whether it's coding, technology, social platforms, even the way things are built online, and the way things are shot with a camera, the way copy is written, everything kind of evolves and is built off things that have happened before. So keeping up with trends that are in your industry is super important. So downloading like the latest social media apps and seeing what's going on in there, and see what content creators are doing, seeing how they're advertising, seeing who they're talking to, picking up on sort of the cadence in which they tell their story, and like sort of how they're targeting their audience is really important. So keeping up with all kinds of platforms. TikTok is really popular right now, and I know a lot of people are really hesitant to get on it because it's one of those things that might be stealing your data, but who knows? But it is used by millions, if not billions, of people, and it is like, I think it's here to stay. So things like that, you just need to just use and kind of get comfortable with, and understand what they're doing better than, let's say, Instagram, or what they're doing better than Facebook. And usually it's around things like user experience, their algorithms are really one of the things that stands out. Between the difference between Instagram and TikTok is like night and day as far as like algorithms and how it sort of learns what your interests are and then shows you ads throughout your scrolling that are really targeted to you. So stuff like that is really fascinating to me, and I think it's really important to know if you're going to get into like marketing, to know how all those things work and where they're being used.
Definitely. I know that TikTok is next on our list as far as nuts to crack. So be on the lookout for BRIC Talk. It's coming.
Nice. Good name.
So do you have any other questions about the program? And if not, you can easily reach us at innovate@bricvt.org. So INNOVATE at BRICVT.org. That'll ping me, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Facebook is also a great place to reach out if it's your preferred means of communication.
And I'll be uploading all the syllabi to the Facebook event if anyone wants to see those.
Yep, and then this chat as well will be recorded, placed on our YouTube, and probably linked back to Facebook as well, so you could always rewatch if you want to see my smiling face again. But yeah, I thank you all for tuning in, and I'll give one more pass if anybody has any questions, and if not, I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday.
Thank you. That was helpful.